All right. Push the button.
Pledge allegiance. Oh, by the way, I want to thank you for the highest point in town. I made it Rocky Hill, that's the highest point in town.
I saw that.
It's the only place that doesn't have a hydrant, though.
Big one now. All right, we good? All right, good evening, Litchfield, and welcome to the November
Second.
2nd meeting of the Litchfield Conservation Commission. I call this meeting to order at 6:33 PM. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've been doing that since the first grade.
Okay, I'll do a quick roll call. If we want, Mr. Croto has entered the room at 6:34 PM. Welcome, Mr. Croto. Have a seat right over here.
Yeah, you don't need
He's
a
ready
name
for the
tag,
roll
you
call.
get too long.
All right, quick roll call. Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mr. Harry Manzikian.
Here.
Mr. George Lavash.
Here.
Jason Brennan, I am here. Ms. McGibbon.
Present.
Mr. Croto.
Present.
Mr. French.
Here,
Mr. Lynch.
again here.
We're here. All right. We are missing Ms. Diane Plansky. She is under the weather. I guess she had some fun down in Florida and brought something back with her. We need to appoint one member. I'm going to appoint George tonight. Are you willing to sit in and be a voting member tonight?
I am.
Okay.
Welcome.
Public input related to non-agenda items, seeing nobody's here. We're going to open public input at 6:35 and close it at 6:35. New business. It's the first time in a couple of years we have not had an item under new business. So we're going to skip new business and we're going to go to old business. And first thing under old business is Dara Pond milfoil.
Been there for a while.
So we've been discussing the issues we're having at Dara Pond with milfoil. George actually did a little bit of research over the past month. And George, you good to give us an update on that?
Sure. All right, so I tried to get a handle on what it would take in order to get rid of the milfoil. And I know that we already had the proposal from Solitude last year, or 2019. We had a proposal from Solitude. So I thought it was like $9,000, a little over that. So I dug into it a little deeper, and I found there was a diving company based out of Maine that will go in and dive, and they harvest the milfoil rather than treat it chemically. I called them. They did call me back. They only deal with invasive milfoil, and what we have is native milfoil. And he didn't want to deal with the permits, whatnot. So then I decided, oh, maybe I could get a license and I could treat the milfoil myself, right? So I went and called up the state, and I found out all the stuff. And I could possibly do it.
Initiative.
But I would, if the town owns Dara Pond, I can get this, you can become somebody who, you can work on your own property or on the property that you're employed for. You can't go and treat anybody else's. But it turns out that I don't think we'd save too much money, because then I'd have to be a town employee or something, it would kind of get messy. But when I was talking to those people at the state, they gave me the list of all of the people that can treat milfoil in the state. So Solitude is,
Native, that can treat native milfoil?
yeah, so,
And by the way, it's property of the state, the water, it's over 12 acres. 12 acre, it's a great pond,
okay, so it's not owned by the town.
Yeah.
not the water, no.
Well, so there. So that's out. So Solitude is one. There's company SWCA. I called them. They said it was too small. They don't have enough people in New Hampshire to deal with it. They're out of state. And then there's Arbor Pro Plant Care based out of Rochester. So
Arbor, like,
Arbor, A-R-B-O-R. I can send this out to everybody if you want, but I did get a hold of somebody at Solitude, Brendan McCarthy. He's a different person than the person who did the
Yeah, it
stuff.
sounds like the name I talked to.
He said, can you sign a contract right away if I give you a new price? And, you know, because I can get you this year's prices for chemicals. It sounded like he was trying to meet a sales quota. And I said, well, give me your price as soon as possible. He hasn't got back to me after repeated pings, so I don't know if we're big enough for them. So the last person I talked to there was this Arbor Pro. It's a husband and wife company. The husband had some medical issues just recently, so it was a couple weeks before he could come out. He came out and looked at the pond on Monday. And I kind of strong-armed him into giving me a ballpark quote today. He didn't have a chance to actually do an official quote,
That's fine.
but he said it'd be around $10,000
To do chemical,
chemical.
the name of the stuff.
Is he licensed?
Yes,
have to
so,
be licensed.
so
They can't do
this
it.
guy does a lot of work for the state, so he treats all of the dams
Yep.
in the state, so he works with the Army Corps of Engineers. He's done some projects in Manchester, Hampstead, he's done a whole bunch of work, so I think he's the guy. And so when I talked to him, he said that he would probably do 3 different treatments.
This Procelicor is the name of this stuff, the new, it's relatively new stuff.
What is it called?
Procelicor.
Procelicor.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
He
I
wouldn't
don't-
treat the whole pond at once, right?
No, he would do it in like 3 treatments, 2 to 3 weeks apart. He said he'd do one section because there's an oxygen depletion that
Right.
happens when he does the kill, so the fish can move to another area of the pond. And then once, that one area has settled down, he can move into another area of the pond. And so he would do 3 treatments in the spring,
Sections.
3 weeks apart. And he said that would probably get us, and he would just do around the rim, just like Solitude said. He said it would be too expensive to treat the deeper water, and there probably isn't much there anyways. He did not view the lake from a boat, but he, just looked onshore. And then he said he probably would have to come back and do a retreatment, but at a smaller level. And he didn't commit to exactly what that price would be. It's probably between 5,000 and 7,000, I'm guessing. Next year.
In the fall, or
Yeah, timing for that?
when, if he did the 3 in the spring, then when would he have to do
The
this?
following year.
Oh, the following year.
That'd be a year apart.
Yeah,
You see how
the
it's going.
milfoil goes out pretty deep into there. I mean, it's almost, there's like a little section in the middle of the pond
Yeah.
that's not,
Well,
Was
so,
it 20 feet deep?
Wherever it's deepest.
yeah,
so-
so milfoil goes down to like 6 or 7 feet, so anything deeper than that it's supposed to be, but I've been out there and it's, the milfoil extends pretty far off the shore.
Pond's not very deep.
right, so, well, if he has to treat, so I was basing, what he needed to do based upon what I saw in the quote from Solitude, right?
Gotcha.
Where they were just gonna treat the rim.
Yep.
So if we have to treat more of it, it's obviously more product, and so the price might go up.
Did that include the state
That includes writing the permits.
permits?
Yes. So he said that in order to do the retreatment, he has to notify abutters.
Right.
So,
Post the property for no swimming for 24 hours or whatever it is.
right, so he said there is some fixed cost for retreatment over, even though it might be less. But I don't think there are that many abutters, but whatever.
Right.
And I had a strong arm. I called him 3 times today. He was out doing some stuff because he was injured, and
Yeah.
so he couldn't give me a firm quote. But I said, just give me a ballpark.
So would we go for a warrant article, or what would we do?
It's a good question. And we have a couple of options. We could get a price and go for a warrant article for it.
And it comes under recreation, but we haven't been able to connect too well with them.
Yeah.
Well, this is not really recreation. We got a pond. It's conservation. The pond now has got milfoil all over it.
It's,
Okay, it's conservation to bring the pond back up. How the pond is used is another matter. and that's where recreation comes in. We're trying to get the pond able to be used.
So would
Okay.
you think we could go for a warrant article?
I believe so, and I feel that
Those have
because,
to be in pretty soon.
because if they vote no, they vote no, but I'm just saying, we're trying to get the pond up so we can use it in the recreation. That used to be a swimming hole for years.
Yeah.
Okay, there used to be piers, there used to be ductwork out there, everything. Okay, I swam there when I was a child. Okay?
That's what happened.
Yeah, look at me. Okay, I know. Okay, but there'd be docks, because it used to be Camp hey, at the time. Everybody has asked me, can we swim there? Well, look at the beach, look at everything else, the milfoil, all the problems around it. It's not very inviting, unless you're a country boy and you're willing to go swim in that. Okay, but there's other people who don't. I think if we get it cleaned up so it can be used, okay, it's more important. Okay, right now, if you wanna be at the pond, look at Common Pond, look at Half Moon Pond, they're all doing the same thing. Okay, they got the milfoil in it and the whole nine yards. But you're trying to make this a recreational pond, which it used to be for years. Got the sandy beach. Maybe next year we can come back with a warrant article to put a pier out there so they can jump in the water instead of walking into it.
One step at a time.
So,
You
so
got
if we put a warrant article out for 10,000, we could maybe just,
So let the taxpayers decide.
Yeah, so the timing would be, so if we can get a price from this guy, a firm price by our next,
well, we have to have warrant articles, I forget what Kim
it's the
said,
beginning of December.
to have
Correct.
money articles in?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So if we can get a firm, price
Yeah.
from this guy, a proposal from this guy, maybe even, he's making some assumptions that you're just kind of treating the edge of it.
Right.
I don't
Yeah,
know
like
if we need
how
to.
many feet out is he talking?
So we were looking there, we could see there was you could tell there was a depth break because of the wind and whatnot.
You
And
see
it was
with the
about
vegetation around
20
the
or
depth
30
break.
feet out or something like that, you know what I
Okay.
mean? And so that's what he was thinking, I think, I don't have it in concrete, but something like that. And he was gonna do the whole perimeter.
Is there some sort of maintenance plan that he recommends to go along with it? Because, I mean, if we treat it, but then we let it go, does it come back
So
in
he
3
said-
years, or-
Well, he said that, you probably treat it again,
With another
the
year.
second year, and then it would be spot treatments or whatever in the third year. And I asked him about the algicide, because Solitude had an algicide in there, and he said he'd wait to do that until you saw if you really needed it or not.
And ask, if you talk to him again, well, probably will, ask him what chemical he would be using. The brand name of whatever he's using.
So,
If the DES approve, it's fine with
Well,
us.
this,
Yeah.
this new one, Procelicor, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that's, two different companies said that's very, very effective.
so he mentioned, that there's Roundup is a brand name, okay, this isn't the Roundup that you spray
See
in
on
plants,
TV.
but there's like Roundup Pro and there's Roundup something or other, so he was going to use one of those two.
That's
so-
fine.
Roundup.
Um,
That's fine with you?
Yep.
I'm glad.
Does this treatment affect the fish in the pond?
So if you were to kill all of it at once, because the plant matter is dying, it depletes the oxygen level in the
Yeah.
water, and that can kill the fish. So that's why you do it in a staggered approach.
So does that give the normal vegetation a chance to establish itself between the cycles?
No,
Is that
when
the
you kill
idea?
off the vegetation, then you get all that rotting, and that takes the dissolved oxygen out.
Right.
So you do it in sections around the pond.
And that seems kind of aggressive too. I think Solitude was only gonna do like a third a year, but
No, so the
But they
Solitude
have to-
presentation said that they were going to do, they found milfoil, all around it. I thought they were gonna do like 75% of the pond.
Yeah.
well, anyway, he would have to be approved by the state permit would have to approve that, so.
Right, and so, I was talking to this guy, and he, I believe he's like the expert, or, one of the guys in the state that does this, and he, like I said, he's done, Manchester and these other places, and.
Where are they out of? There's a couple-
Rochester.
Yep.
It's Arbor Pro,
That's all
Plant
they're called?
Care.
Okay.
So he seemed to know what he was, talking about.
And Solitude was the company we got our last quote from.
The Solitude, I think they've gotten to be so big that they're the ones that never call back.
But that quote was from 2019, right?
Right.
They did
Yeah,
a survey,
the
yeah.
milfoil problem is much worse
Yeah,
than that
yeah.
too.
I agree.
Can the beach at Dara Pond be expanded at all? So.
There's private property around the rest of where
pretty
it's
right in the
now.
right.
It's pretty
good
big, it is pretty
size.
big.
Yeah,
It's
and
good
it
size
gets,
now.
the
Yeah.
part where I believe the town owns to the left is pretty mucky beyond.
Yeah,
You got the drainage that comes off the top and goes over to the, what's the east side of the pond?
But all that area is covered with milfoil.
Yeah.
all the way around.
Yeah.
The beach area, yeah, right in front of the beach area, covered with milfoil.
Yeah.
You stand on the edge and it
And
It goes
duckweed,
out 20
right, I
think
think it's duckweed or some other type
There's
of.
a
I mean,
lot of junk.
it's totally around the pond now. I mean, there's just a little
It's all the way
section
around.
in the middle that's clear.
Yeah.
The pond
So
at
if we
the
could
depth
get-
is about, I think it's 19 to 20 feet, the maximum depth in that pond in one sector.
We could get a little bit of a firmer price and we could put in for a warrant article.
I think so. So the steps would be, if we can get a proposal from him.
Yep.
And take a look at the proposal that was given by Solitude and maybe just kinda like use that as a go-by. I mean, this guy knows what he's doing, so have him propose what he wants, what he suggests professionally on how to treat that pond within the parameters that the state provides. And, get us a proposal on that, and then we can put together a warrant article for it.
Sure.
And we can attach that dollar amount to it and then go from there. And if we have to go out for bids later on, we still at least have that number.
I think it's a wise thing to put it on the warrant for it. Let the people decide. Okay, for the whole thing. If they don't wish to do it this year because of all the school stuff going on, that's the decision. I think at least we're trying to get the pond back up, the health.
And I think if we do write the article, it should include the money for the 2 years of treatment.
You could do that.
Can you
Because-
do that? Can you do
I
that?
don't know if
Oh.
you can do that.
We'll find out about that tomorrow.
You can't,
Because you're spanning 2 fiscal years, I just don't know.
I got you,
Yeah.
I understand.
But I think to be effective, we're gonna need some sort of maintenance.
Well, the other thing is if we go after this, you could either go for another warrant article,
We'll budget it.
or you could budget it, and we can just make sure that we have a good conversation with the budget committee, that we've invested in this, and now we just need 2 years to move us
we'll
forward.
probably need more than one quote, but at least get some money.
Well,
And I was gonna say, the money from Solitude was from 2019, I think. So that would make sense that his would be a little more.
right, so this came in at about the same cost as the Solitude. But I'm not sure we can get a quote from Solitude.
I don't
I'm
think
not
we
worried
can.
about that.
I'm
No,
not
I
worried about it.
mean-
Just get a number.
Okay,
We
yeah,
might, what's the amount that you have to get more than one if you're over a certain amount?
I can't remember what the purchasing rules are, but I don't think we need that for the warrant article.
No, I don't think
Correct,
so.
you
either.
don't.
If we get through the warrant article stage and then it becomes March and it passes, then at that point in time, we can determine if we need to go out to bid or
If we
not.
have a number to work with right now based off something we have, if we have to go out and get a bid, okay, well, at least we got a number to work with.
Right.
To get a bid from,
Yep.
okay?
I think that if we do send it out to bid, no problem. We send it out to Solitude, we send it out to the weed pulling guy from Maine, we
Yep.
sent, to people that we know. Sounds like Solitude's just gonna be like non-responsive on it, but I mean, you can only do what you can do and just throw it out there and see what we get.
right. And the other one is SWCA, and they flat out said that they're too busy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, SWCA Environmental.
George, can you share that with us?
Yeah,
Okay, so we'll all understand the whole thing.
so, yeah, so.
Thank you.
I'll write up a nice little thing and I'll send it to everybody.
You don't have to do that, just share.
Well, these are just my rough notes.
Anybody else got any questions on that?
George, can this be done through the ice, or does it have to be done in good weather, or did you?
I think he's gonna do it in a boat, and he has
Boat,
like a
okay.
tube that he drags around the
Yeah,
back of the boat.
gotcha.
and-
You can't drag it on top of the ice and let it seep later.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it has to be done in the springtime while it's
I agree.
growing.
Yeah.
It's,
Which
it's-
makes sense,
It's the only time I've seen it done that way.
yeah.
Right, and so what I think it does is it attacks, the leaves, sort of like when there are some herbicides that go to the roots and some go to the leaves. This attacks the leaves, I believe, is the way it enters.
It's like Roundup, the best stuff around, but going to the courts, it's not.
But so there's different,
It's a
Yeah.
different type of stuff.
he did say the word Roundup, so, but he says this is not the Roundup that,
I'm familiar with.
right. So he says there are different formulas, but there's a brand name, right? So
They've used a lot this year to
No
kill all
lawsuits around this one?
I think,
I'm just, and he says this is approved, this is the,
I think we'll be good, because this is all governed by the state. There has to be a permit. Permit has
Exactly.
to be pulled on this. They have to meet certain
Regulated.
standards from the state, so.
right.
I think we would be good. Anything, Mr. Croto, anything?
I think that's what we should do, yeah.
It's a good planning process.
All right, yeah, that was good.
Thanks, George.
Right,
Yeah, thanks for doing the homework on that one. All right, so even if you can get the proposal in the next couple of weeks, if you could just send it around to the crew, at least we can then craft a warrant article around that. And then if we have to go out for formal proposal or bids or something like that, then we can worry about that if it passes, right, Kevin? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. I'm watching the screen and somebody's typing.
Yeah.
Who's doing
Mr.
that?
Croto, you're actually typing in the live.
How did I do that?
Oh, you're doing good up there.
Save as, he's typing in the live agenda.
Okay.
I'm sitting there watching the screen and it's like changing. I'm like, who's in there changing our
So
agenda?
you're trying to hide something from us? You're not doing very well.
Well, it's working.
All right, we good on the milfoil?
Look at that. What's going on?
All right, everybody on board with this idea?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good on that.
I swim in the river more.
Next, under old business, equipment and supply purchases, so last,
He's still up there.
yeah. I took a look at the budget, and we looked at this last month. Okay, so we only have one meeting left before the end of the year.
Yep.
And we looked at the budget last month, and we made a motion, and it got approved to spend up to $500 on various different supplies before the end of the year. And taking a look at the budget a little bit deeper, it still looks like we're gonna have in the vicinity of, I'll just say, $770 left before the end of the year. And with that, we've got a number of things that we can probably take care of this year. We've got a couple, we need to, could use a different string trimmer that's available to everybody, so we're not using our equipment. Some of the stuff that has been donated over the years is just like not working anymore, so maybe we can just get a simple battery-powered string trimmer that we can use and a couple other things. And then we have some signs that we can purchase for down at Moore's Falls. So I'm gonna make a motion to just spend the rest of that fund at the discretion, essentially, of the board, the chair,
Correct.
and the vice chair. Any money that's like left over, if we have a little bit left over, we might be able to apply it to dues for next year. That will kind of offset things. Where we ended up saving a little bit of money this year, and I mean, we're not talking a lot, we're talking a few $100, but we ended up saving a little bit of money this year was a donation from the fishing derby. Mr. Croto that donated a couple 150 fish or something like that. And then,
Tastes good.
the Recreation Commission ended up picking up the tractor maintenance for this year. It's just the way it kind of got,
It worked out good.
and it worked out for a few $100. So maybe we can use this to kind of just get our stuff in order. So,
Do you have I remember you guys used to have a saw with an extended pole. You still have that.
No.
It's one of the most important things you need in life because you're too short to reach that far up.
So that would be one of the things that we would be,
Correct. We had
Looking
one, it used to be there. I've used it before on the park. It worked out well for me to get underneath stuff down there.
Yeah, we've got the pole saw, but it's not.
Is the
not-
motor, the
not-
motor
not-
shop?
Not running, so we're trying to get that fixed. We got a new carburetor for
oh,
it
there
and
is?
stuff.
Oh, that one,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
forgot
yeah.
about that, yeah.
I'm,
that's-
I'm referring to that, cause that's what we
Yeah.
had before. I know.
Yeah, it won't run, so we bought a new carburetor for it. We're just trying to get it fixed. So if you're mechanically
Inclined?
inclined
I
for
can
for
build a
stuff
house. I
like
can't
that,
fix
we've
it.
got everything
Carburetor's
for it.
sitting in my garage,
So,
and it's a steel,
Yeah, it
Power
looks,
head.
it looks like a nice saw.
do you
The
want,
steel power head,
yep,
I have one of those, yeah.
They're very good.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
very
they're
good.
I can,
I mean, we
I can
got
probably
our
fix it.
personal stuff, but it would be nice to have.
we're
some
gonna
stuff
give
for
it
the
to,
commission.
you wanna take
Give
a
it to
crack
George.
at it?
I can fix, I can, well,
We'll see what he can
I
do.
can probably fix
Can
it.
take a look at it.
Well, let George take a crack at it. We did buy a new carb for it.
Sure.
My thinking was, let's try to I tried to clean out the carb, didn't quite work. I was hoping to clean the carb versus put the new carb in, because God knows where the new carb comes
Do you
from.
guys use seafoam?
No, I use
No,
carb cleaner.
we didn't do
Okay,
that.
so if we start putting seafoam in our
Yeah.
gas
I
tanks.
understand what you're going with.
No, that stuff just works. It cleans out the carburetors as it
Is
runs.
that the blue stuff?
No,
It's in a
it's
white can.
white and red can you get at Walmart, like
Okay.
$8 a can.
Yep.
But I
Small
put it in
engine.
my snowmobiles, anything that's seasonal.
It's not stabilizer.
It's not stabilizer,
it's
it's like a
better.
cleaner, seafoam.
What we learned
Yeah, you
tonight,
know, I mean, we've taken a couple whacks at it and haven't been able to get it
Stuff looks
started,
good.
so.
I had to
We
take
can, we
it
can try
apart
that, or
once
we have a new
myself.
car, we can replace
Redid
it.
it. You know, I did it myself when it was in the shed over here.
So
You know, it
Jason,
wasn't
sure.
running, so I brought it home, I took it all apart, put it back together, and I got it going. I used foam on it to clean it up. No
Well,
one
we'll
ever
give
used it.
Take another swipe at it. Harry,
now, what was your, proposal?
I'm gonna make a motion.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna make a
Gotcha.
motion right now, so that we can, just spend down the rest of our money. The reason, we didn't have to do this last year, this year, there needs to be a motion related to every penny that we spend, so
Sure.
we wanna make sure that we've got that covered. So it looks like the number to me, Joan, is, what I have is 774 remaining.
Okay.
So I took that and I subtracted, wait a second. Hold on, what do you got?
1374 as of end of October.
Okay, 1374, and then we had,
And another 35 and 60.
yeah, so say 100, so that's 1374, so 1274 would be remaining.
Okay.
Of the 1274, we've already allocated 500 at the last meeting. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 774. Boom.
You went to
So
school.
we should be good.
Oh, we don't know if the 100 for the plant ladies out of there yet.
That would be okay, because this would cover
Okay.
the spending of the 100 for the person. All right, so I'm gonna make a motion, and I actually am gonna use our minutes from last meeting. Okay, I make a motion that the Conservation Commission allows the purchase of up to $774 in equipment and supplies and dues related to property and equipment maintenance and conservation programs and dues at the discretion of the chair and/or the vice chair. This may include fuel, tractor supplies, peripherals, trailer supplies, signs, chains, locks, lumber, construction supplies, paints, tools, trimmers, saws, chainsaw equipment, general hardware, personal protective equipment,
Bubble gum.
office supplies, dues, and conservation programming fees. That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Me, seconded by Harry. Any discussion on that?
No bubble gum?
I put everything under the sun is underneath there.
You did everything.
Yeah. Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstain, motion carries 700. 2, 4, 6, 7. All right, good on that. And let's go back to the minutes that Mr. Croto was, or the,
Overrode.
He added a lot to it, I must say that.
2023 goals. All right, I wanted to take a minute, if you remember, earlier this year, we, at one of the meetings, we put together a goal list for 2023. And seeing we're getting to the end of the 2023, I want to see what we actually did. And did we hit any of the goals that we said? So I'm going to read through them and we'll, thumbs up or thumbs down on them. I think we pretty much hit everything that we said we would hit. Goal number 1, property maintenance, inspect key properties on a monthly basis and address maintenance issues. I think we've been pretty good with that. Goal number 2, community outreach, hold the annual fishing derby, check. And B, hold one other community event, bird watching, property hike, so on and so forth, invasive plants. So we did that. We had the invasive plant talk. And then
The bear,
the
the
bear.
bear presentation.
So we had the bear presentation, we had the invasive plant talk, you actually had a bird walking tour too. So I think we've done pretty good with that one. Item number 3 was improve properties per land management plan. Under there, create new trail at Moores Falls, we did that. Remove the troubled trees at the river access, we did not do that. We need to talk with Rec about that. There's a couple of pretty good sized trees.
There's a couple that hang down there. I went to go look at them. I may find somebody who may want to move them.
Okay,
We can drag them across the backyard and use them for firewood.
If-
I'll follow up on that one,
okay.
okay?
There's a couple hanging over there.
I know what you're
and-
saying.
And I would even think if we were to remove those,
It's oak maple.
we might wanna get Kevin to remove those, cause those,
I have a tractor that's bigger than Kevin's.
okay, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta, you just have to be careful.
I'm very familiar with the river and how to drop things in, pull things out.
And then
Talk to
number,
Kevin too.
item C under that was, continue the work on the muster field. And I think we've done that, and actually Matt and I did some maintenance on it last week. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Those trees, limbs you're talking about, they're the maples and the oaks that are there.
When you go down the trail from the parking lot,
Yeah,
and you're walking toward the river and it kind of bends around to the right
Yeah.
before it bends around to the left, it's the clump right
just mark
there.
it for me and I'll find out
You,
something for
you
you.
don't even need to mark
Yeah,
it.
you'll see it. The problem is that they're hanging pretty
They're
high.
widow
so-
makers,
I'm used to them.
okay.
I'm married.
Number 4, here's a couple things that maybe we do next month. Conservation planning, review land preservation strategy that was developed last year to see if there's any modifications required. So maybe I'll send that around for next month. It was just like a 10-page, remember the color document that we did last year? Take a look at that and see if we need any modifications. And I think one modification might be that we somehow tie it in with, there's that new economic development committee, and, maybe we should tie it in with them a little bit just to make sure, and with the planning board, to make sure that we don't have like 3 plans from 3 different groups and they're all kind of, in their own silos, so. Identify and prioritize potential properties that we're interested in, we've done that, we've thrown the map down on the table and taken care of that. Communicate with key landowners, I think we've done that pretty well this year too. So that's that, so we got a couple more left. Bylaw review, can't remember if we looked at the bylaws.
You would think so.
Doing this.
Might need to do that next month real quick, just to. Item number 6 out of 9, long-term goals. Take a look at the Merrimack River bank stabilization. which is at the mustard field.
Good luck there, guys. That's Mother Nature that's solving that one for you.
I talked to the state about that.
Yeah?
They have funding through the ARM fund that would potentially cover this type of stuff.
Are we talking about the trail going up to the field in the back? That's all grown in? Are we talking about just along the riverbank as you go
Talking
down
about
there?
the actual riverbank itself,
As you look at it.
when you walk across the street from the fire station, how it's been eroded over the years.
Yeah, it's doing that, it's been doing that for years because of the nature of the course of the river. And it affected the field, the trail going up to the top. The rail is starting to crack, it's fall in as well. Just to let you know,
Long-term goal,
rocks.
just to take a look at it and see if, when I talked to the state about it, they said that you would need an engineer, and I actually
I know.
talked to Lou Karen real quick, and he said that he does that type of stuff, that
I know what
would
he's talking
mock
about.
something up.
That's a rock barrier to prevent erosion because of the nature of the river channel that comes through there.
That's what, I think the plan would end up being
Ooh.
big boulders poured over the side of the
Yeah.
riverbank.
We're really at danger of losing that trail going up to the upper part of the mustard field.
There's a way of making that work too, by putting a trail to the south of that a little bit, but going back up there too, by cutting that off.
Yeah, I don't know how much we're allowed to do to that and
I know,
that close to
I
the
know.
river.
275 feet rings a bell where you can't take down like major,
Yeah, so
Trees and
we don't, you don't have 275 feet to 3A,
No,
so.
you don't, you're right on
Is
the
that
edge.
for rivers, or is it just water bodies?
I
What-
think
Shoreline
it's
protection, shoreline protection.
shoreline, yeah, shoreline. Actually, Mr. Croto would probably know the
Yeah, I
most
think
about
it is
that.
shoreline protection.
Yeah, well, because, yeah, I think there's, within 50 feet or something, there's a, you have to go to percentages, right? You can take 10% per year.
Correct.
Yeah, so,
So
You're
that's
not
like a,
allowed, you're not allowed to not take a certain percentage out. You're allowed to take only a certain amount out each
Yep.
year.
yeah.
And there's other groups that say, don't touch it. Like, I own riverfront property. And I know it's above the floodplain there, but getting to it, and it goes right straight down. So, yeah,
so we'll maybe take a look at that, because there's funding for it. We just don't know if this would be covered, and I'd like to have an engineer take a look at it and see if, if it's feasible. And, the next big flood that we get, it's probably gonna take another swipe. It's being eroded from underneath, so it's a little bit of an issue. Just
if you
to,
drop the trees falling into the river, they'll stay there.
float down the Lowell. And so we had a couple other things there, and then I'll just quickly go 7, 8, and 9. Regional visit to Conservation Commission meetings or events in neighboring towns. So I will say, I did attend an event this year in Merrimack at the Sklar Park, which is right across the street from, right across the river from our
Sauhegan River, right there.
and then I did contact, because I did look at this week, Joan. And I did contact Londonderry, and I'm gonna go to their next Conservation Commission meeting and just pop in. And she said, yeah, it would be good to introduce ourselves with each other.
When do they meet?
They meet 2 times a month, and their next meeting is next week, and then 2 weeks from next week.
Just like here.
So I might do that.
What day is?
I'll let you know.
Let me
She
know.
just emailed me a couple hours ago. Members, 8 of 10 members, bring on an additional Conservation Commission member.
We did that.
We did that.
Yay.
Check, you're a checkbox.
Well,
Yeah.
What kind of members are we allowed to have?
I think it's unlimited.
Seven,
Oh.
and then alternates.
limit
7
on the
regular voting
alternates?
members, and then all kinds.
I'm being sarcastic, but 7 full-time members, including the Board of Selectmen rep. We'll have to check the bylaws if there's a limit on alternates.
I do not,
Can't remember.
I don't recall.
And then community gardening, get the paperwork in order and get at least 1 planted community garden plot.
Yay.
And I think Diane got 3 or 4.
3 or 4, yeah.
And then the last one, Joan? clean out the file cabinets.
I've been working on it. I have.
That's been the one that's been kicked, the can that's been kicked down the road for
I've
quite
taken a lot of
quite a
stuff
while.
out.
So I don't think that's too bad. I mean, we kind of set these goals at the beginning of last year. We'll probably do it again this year and make sure that they're achievable. Anybody got any comments on that?
Yeah, the file cabinets are still full. We haven't got to that goal yet.
I have taken the starter taking some out. And I moved some planning board stuff today, so,
I was just picking on you.
She's making room for you too.
in a file cabinet.
Zinger.
Not surprised.
All right, getting down, so other business, so we're on other business right now. Property checks, we're gonna do property checks and, member input. So any property checks this month?
I did not do any.
I went up to Mooresfield, looked pretty good.
The
Little bit of
Musterfield or
trash.
Moore's
No,
Falls?
Moore's,
More,
Moore's,
Yeah.
Moore's Falls, sorry.
Yeah.
did you
You
put the
got it
trash
right.
can out yet?
Mm-mm.
Oh, we need to wait it down and
I
tie
did
it up.
Moore's Fall last week. I walked all the way down the river. Yeah, it's still there.
Okay.
Okay, everything's picked up clean. There's no trash. A lot of the fertilizer I'm proud of. Dogs.
Matt and I went this weekend up to the muster field and we took the tractor out and we did a cutting at the top of the hill. And it looked pretty good. And, the only thing that's kind of holding us back from maintaining that all the way through the summer, I think there are some stumps up there, small ones, that the tractor
Top
can
field?
get on the top field, that the tractor can get caught up on.
Can I just say something? If you need something a little larger, I'll be more than happy to go back up on top of that, because I did it the last time. I got a local guy in town allows me to use his green stuff,
Okay.
okay? And if you need something to be removed, let me know. I got no, and he's willing to be helpful too.
Yeah, we just need some, it's like little birch stumps and stuff like that. It's just stuff that if we tried mowing with a tractor, it could, the deck
I
could
understand
get
what you're
hung up
talking
on
about,
it.
because I went in there with another John Deere and a brush hog.
Yeah.
I did the whole backside, and I made a trail all the way around it. It's probably grown in now,
But we cleared
okay?
pretty much the whole
Cleared.
thing now.
Yep.
So
I didn't even
it's
ask-
very apparent now to see where the clumps are that we need to get.
My
get rid of.
concern is going up there because I noticed the erosion on the hill to the bank. The pathway with a heavy piece of equipment I'm concerned with.
How heavy is it?
It's a big John Deere.
To go, to, where are you going? Down the,
So what,
I got both of them.
when were the stumps cut, the birches?
Couple years.
Yeah,
And so-
well, last,
We
actually-
did some last
actually-
year, and then there's,
I did some
last year.
about 8, 9 years
Komodo
years
won't
ago
push
in
'em.
there too.
no,
Yeah, and I'm also concerned about how much we can disturb the soil there, since there's historical significance being the muster field. So I
Well-
think if we can grind them, that's probably the
You
best
can.
option.
It won't be a problem. We used to plow that ground. There used to be a field.
Okay.
We grew corn and stuff up there for years. Okay? It's grown in. That's all this field's done, is grown in. We used to
So-
plow that whole piece.
Yeah, so even if we get someone with a backhoe or something, I'm
You
sure
got
we could take that out.
so I had somebody reach out to me that said that they have a stump grinder and they might be willing to help us out.
Yeah.
And it's
Grind it
not
down.
a lot of stuff like Joan, it's just like
oh, you're talking about the muster field?
the
top
top
of the
field
hill.
at the
Top field.
muster field.
Yep.
There are
Yeah.
birch stumps that are
Yeah.
maybe 4 inches or
Yeah,
something
it's
like
the
that.
little clusters of like,
It's
6 to
stick up
3
that
inch trees
high.
or whatever.
It's,
I
they're enough
created
that you
those for you,
hit the
I'm sorry.
tractor with it, you know, you can bend something.
Yeah. I apologize, guys, I did those. My biggest concern, I walked up there last week and I was noticing that the bank is cracking. The pathway up there, coming to where you normally drive a tractor up there, it's splitting.
Yeah.
Anything big, I'm questioning whether we can get up there with.
Yeah, I hug the inner edge when I go up there.
I do too, okay?
I drove my truck up there.
Yeah, I did too, but I was,
So did I.
brushing across along the
There's
trees.
one little spot that's maybe 5 or 10 feet long, it's a little bit, I backed down too.
You didn't turn around and just drive down?
Yeah. I couldn't at that time, it wasn't cut, but yeah.
Oh, hell, the brush doesn't hurt the paint.
Anybody else got anything? We'll go to, member input. Any,
I just, now that we're going through the effort to keep the muster field clear, I think something that would be real helpful to help even with like some of the grants and stuff that we're trying to get is we gotta promote the historical significance of the areas that we have. So how do we engage with the Heritage Commission or Historical Society, whoever it is, to start documenting and promoting that, right? I mean, it'd be simple for us to put up little, little signage with like QR codes or something that people can scan and go to a website or something where we can document the history. But it'd be, we gotta get that out of people's heads and document it somewhere so we
You gotta
can.
look at what was that
Get
used
people
for. It used to
interested.
be a gravesite across the street there, it's gone.
Yeah, there's.
Behind the church.
I mean, there's tons of stuff. Even Moore's Falls, right? We had all the signage there and stuff for all the old foundations and stuff, so.
You got the old foundations on there, and you got the locks and everything right there.
But I think like putting it into a website so you don't actually have to be there, so people
Correct.
can look through and see it, and then we can
And people will go see
refer
it.
to that stuff, like when we're applying for grants and stuff, saying,
Good,
hey,
yeah.
this is the history of the town.
Wouldn't the Historical Society have all that information?
Some
I
of
think
it.
they have that information, but
They do.
I have never seen it documented anywhere.
No,
That's what
I haven't either.
that's what I'm
I'll
saying.
reach out to them, because I've talked to them about this in the past, that now that that whole area is cleaned up, it would be nice to have, at the kiosk, have a nice historic map of the area. And I'm kind of simplifying it, but maybe have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and those are
Yeah,
the 1,
more
2,
than
3,
enough.
4, 5, 6, 7 different sites on it.
And the foundations of what they were and what they weren't. I still got the building sites. I got pictures of where there were buildings there.
Yeah, and that would be interesting, because then you could set up a QR code and people could scan that
And
and
a cut
get the
picture
whole
that showed
history.
what was there. It was shacks or a house or something, okay? At the
That's our
time.
goal, 2024.
Yeah, I think
That'll be our
I think
goal.
that's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Joan, anything? You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I have a continuing on the tree at Griffin with the monument.
Yeah. Oh, maybe we can do that next weekend.
I was thinking next weekend.
Yeah.
Next weekend's cleanup day, 9 o'clock, Saturday morning.
Okay,
Oh, we've got time. I got kids.
we can, all right, so Harry,
Every morning.
I know Harry's got a lot to say tonight.
Not really. We had the evasive plant lecture, and 21 people showed up, which was
Good.
Good.
very surprising, okay? Among the people that showed up, which I was a little surprised at, were the McQuestons.
Yeah.
And actually, I talked to them over the weekend. Matter of fact, I was down there. And they thought the lecture was okay, but they didn't feel the lecturer went into the depth that they were looking for. Now, a lot of the information that she had, they already probably knew about. But it was still the fact that 21 people were interested.
Yeah.
And somebody brought up something about baking soda.
Who was that?
Don't go there.
Harry's
But-
idea of killing bittersweet
I
was
was
with
there.
baking soda.
Well,
I've
just
used
to
a lot of it
clarify,
recently.
yeah, just to clarify it, apparently,
They spread it in my field.
is it sodium bicarbonate, what it does is, it doesn't change the pH of the soil.
No.
It gets rid of the pH in the soil. So it just removes whatever you put it on. And apparently, you're not supposed to use it around water because it is toxic to fish. So,
My lot is perfect for that. 'cause
but
there's
as
no water.
far as, pardon?
My lot is good for that. I got bittersweet growing all around me.
Yeah,
I've used the baking soda and it's helped kill in the area because it's not water ponding. It's just along the
so
bank.
if we wanted to use it versus Roundup, we just have to be very selective on where it does.
I'm in trouble now.
In one of the comments is that people would like to see that type of lecture again. Not necessarily invasive plants, but something in that vein next year.
All right.
So,
Yeah, and some other interesting thing she said is that the best time to treat like bittersweet is actually mid to end of June.
which
Because
that was
you
surprising.
gotta get it before the sugars come back down to the roots or else it'll
Yeah.
grow again.
Yep.
So that time everything's up at the leaves and it
After
hasn't
that,
dumped back down yet.
Too late.
So,
I didn't go to the
and
show.
then the other thing too, as I had mentioned, I call a state, just to get some thoughts on the property that we're potentially,
Yep.
potentially
That
going to
we're
buy.
looking at.
Looking at.
Good
Because,
choice of words.
you know, we all know about putting trails in and that kind of stuff. And I thought maybe the state might have a, you know, something else that we're not aware of, or something different that we're not aware of, or, I guess to be proactive instead of being reactive,
No, it's good.
you know. So, that's it for me.
Yeah, the other thing she mentioned is that UNH actually has some resources that could potentially help to come and actually treat along the riverbank for us. I don't know how we get,
Can that be shared to us through the town stuff?
say that again?
Can that be shared, that resource information to the town?
Well, we could probably dig it up from the UNH Cooperative Extension, but the one thing that I went to in Merrimack this year was hosted by not the Lower Merrimack River Watershed Association, I'll have to like dig up the name, but, they actually do treatment of milfoil along the Lower Merrimack River. I think they actually go like in the northern Mass and stuff like that. And I think they were gonna do some work over on the Merrimack side. Like, they had like 3 people out there, and they did a whole site walk, and there was like 20 people that showed up. They did a little history of the Merrimack River, they kinda walked around, it was actually pretty good, and they talked a lot about, invasive plants that are choking the river out or the shoreline out. And they said that they will assist communities in doing that, and they have all the necessary licenses and all the stuff that you need to get from UNH to support that, but
It wasn't Merrimack River Watershed Council.
I think so, I think it's I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly.
They're out of, Amesbury, I think.
Well, they're trying to have more of a presence up in this stretch of the river, so.
They're trying to head north.
George, anything?
No, I was just all milfoil all the time.
I don't have anything. Joan, anything?
Nothing else, no?
Mr. Croto, anything to report?
Just quick, we talked about Morse Falls. Has there any, have they replaced, remember there were some placards out
Yes,
there?
we gave everything to, Mr. Blanchett, and I don't think he's had time to get to it.
Okay, so
So
it's in the,
was he gonna replace some of the posts and stuff? Cause I noticed that like the posts are decomposing and stuff too.
He's
so it
sitting
might-
right over there.
Is that him?
Oh, okay.
That's not him, is it?
You can't hear you, it got
So,
stuck
so,
on his
so
ear.
if he needs some assistance with
Video
that, we can
games.
probably provide it.
Did you win?
Give us a thumbs up if you heard that. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I was just curious.
Video
Yeah,
game,
he
you
has
heard
some
it.
stuff.
Yeah, and if we need to buy any wood for posts or anything like that, we might be able to take care of some of that this year, so. Good deal on that. Mr. French,
A couple things. One's a Black Bear presentation. I went to that. It was attended by 20-plus people. Actually went from the library to the church. They had so many people.
wow.
Nice.
That was a pretty good presentation. And a lot of people had their eyes open about, one of the things that they stressed was how we share nature. And if you got a bear in your backyard, you don't have to necessarily call the game warden, because they showed the number of calls that they get that are
Yeah,
wasting their time, and
yeah.
so they harped on that a little bit, which is good. Coyotes, and how many calls they get and how many are actually something that they need to deal with was a huge percentage. So that was pretty interesting. The other thing was the sign for the community's garden, and I talked to Diane, and she was gonna give an update. Do you know what's going on with that?
A sign out front?
Yeah, because I'd asked if we could had one, planned to get one.
Yes, so there is a guy in town that might be able to help us out there and
Okay.
replicate the signs that we have going up and down Route 3A.
Yeah,
And I talked to him about a month ago, and he said, yep, doable.
okay,
What we need to do is just like purchase the
Material.
materials, which is actually, he's got a machine that will etch it for us, so it's HDPE, it's like PVC is like the material. And on the, it's, in this case, it would be white, but when you dig down deep in it, it's black, you know, so it goes on an etching machine and it
Yeah.
cuts it all out automatically for you. And so we'll look at doing that and
Okay.
give that a whirl.
because I have a lot of people that ask, where is the garden, and you tell them, and there's no signage there, so
Yep.
that'd be a nice thing to have. The other thing is, back on the topic of invasive, that was a good quote from me stating general overview, but we need a heavy hitter here that knows our requirements from everything went back to the Merrimack River. And we didn't have the resource there to explain
That's the,
the.
at Harry's talk?
Yes. The resource was just not detailed enough, and I felt bad for them in questions, and they were interested in getting more detail. So if we could get somebody from UNH, or she recommended a forester from from New Hampshire Forestry.
Yeah, I have the brochure that I saved that has that information on it.
Yeah, we should get on that next year.
Because
Yeah.
Richard Husband, when he was on the commission, and I went to Portsmouth to a talk about the guy who runs the invasive species, and if he's still around, he would be excellent. I have his booklet in the office, so I'll get his name.
So we have it's a double jeopardy thing with the water and the river and the invasive. So we gotta get somebody that really knows this stuff.
Yeah, the one thing that personally, I don't know what, Matt or you, is that looking for some sort of recommendations to try and remove some of these things. And she said that she could not promote a specific product.
Right.
Okay, so that was a little
That's a legal matter.
disappointing
Mm-hmm.
in that fact, but,
So,
We have a good audience for that.
pardon?
And there's a good audience for that agenda, that landowners along the river that are all you saw it, how
Yeah.
many landowners were saying the same thing.
So,
so,
Yeah.
this guy I was talking to, Ron Freeman from Arbor Pro, he has a contract with the, Army Corps of Engineers, and he goes out and removes, vegetations from the side of dams, because you can't have roots going through the
Yeah.
dam system, right? And so, all dams are near water, right? So he's gotta be using something that's gotta be approved by the state or something, so I might be able to pick his brain to see,
And I'll talk to I sent an email to that Merrimack River Watershed Council. They seem to know a lot
Okay.
about the technical things that need to be done to treat invasive plants. Cause she got right down to it. It's like, cut it off the base, gotta be 6 inches up, you gotta dab it with herbicide, you gotta get to it quick. I mean, there were a lot of technical
Yeah.
things that she knew, and it sounds like the person here was just kinda high level, broad
Yes.
brush.
Yeah, it
People
was
are
more
looking
Very
for
general.
specific
Yeah.
things to do.
Once you do that, here's another side fact, it's already grown, it's already in the trees, it's really screwing things up. Just because you cut it, and you can't get it out of the trees because it's so far up,
Yeah.
99%. It's gonna take a while for that to rot. So you gotta take care of that stump in that area there and put the proper diet to it. I say that in a nice way. Okay?
Yeah, so I wasn't there, so the presentation was more about what they are and how they got here and what they're doing, but not how to kill them.
Yeah, but
Well, no,
everybody wants to know
she
how to
referred
kill
to
them.
other resources that
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
that may be able to assist.
They
so.
did refer us, they did tell us different resources.
But the water, being on the river is a big,
Right, what can you-
throws a
what can
whole
you
monkey
use?
wrench in
Yeah,
it.
It sure does.
And I was talking about the ARM fund and the stream bank stabilization, and I talked to the person at the state, the person that heads up this ARM fund, which is a, type of a grant program. And she told me that they won't give you any money, don't quote me on this, but it's difficult to get funding unless you get your invasive species under control.
Right.
Because the invasive species choke out the trees
Yep.
that hold up the stream bank, it's a whole,
Yeah,
like, chain of events that happen.
can see it
And it's like,
happening.
Step
Would these-
one, you gotta take those under control, and then you can move to the next step.
Where did the invasive species come from?
I don't know.
pardon?
Birds spread them.
Birds, but a
So,
lot of them from
People use the
landscapers.
bittersweet as ornamentals and spread it that way.
Landscapers, and that's what she said, a lot of them were from landscape companies and bring them in.
That works,
I mean,
but I understand, I
There's
understand.
more out there than bittersweet, there's, burning bush and garlic mustard is real bad down at Morse
Bradford
Falls.
pear.
So in other words, we
Whole
need
list.
more bird hunting seasons, never mind.
Mr. Lynch, you have anything?
No, I can't say.
Anybody else have anything? All right, we're good there. Approval of meeting minutes. People take a look at the meeting minutes. I read through them. Everything looked fine to me.
Not there, right?
I have a couple things.
Mr. Sullivan, get ready.
Okay.
Ready.
Page 3. On the 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph. Where it says, Mrs. McKibben stated the GMS is not conservation property, but we have a tree planted there and a monument. And just add after that, so Nancy Hendrick was a founding member of the Conservation Commission and a state rep, and the granite marker needs to be reset. And then down at,
So, wait, can you make that clear for him?
Yeah, please.
What was
well, just to add in that the granite marker needs to be reset
Okay.
on that paragraph.
I remember that specifically, so.
The granite market that's already there,
Yeah, the roots are kicking it up.
that's the one down to the north of it, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
School
Right.
parking
School-
lot,
the school parking
last
lot.
tree, no, onto the north, something
Yep.
like that.
Yeah, we really need to look at that tree, it's not looking good. Then under member input E, says Joan McKibben commented that she did talk to the people, that should be the company, regarding milfoil removal, because it doesn't really say what I talked to, what I was talking about. Just add, change people to company regarding milfoil removal,
Okay.
that's it.
Instead of the people, say the company regarding milfoil removal.
Right.
I remember that too. What was the date of those?
October 5th.
Fifth, five?
5, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't, am I on the, I didn't think I went to that one.
Let's see,
You weren't there, you were sick that day.
that's right.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the October 5th, 2023 meeting minutes with Ms. McGibbon's amendments. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the October 5th, 2023 minutes
That
with
is
the
a
amendment.
motion by Mr. Croto. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. McGibbon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstained?
Here.
Okay.
And on the note of minutes, these need to go,
That motion passes 4-0-3.
okay. In the town clerk's viewing room, she has many notebooks, and I've been, as they get approved, I put them in there, instead of having Diane come down here and make a special trip, so.
Okay, that's appreciated. And they're all nice and neatly organized up online now, too, if anybody.
There's 22 minutes there yet?
22 are in there,
Oh, good.
yeah, they're all
Good.
pretty well. Let's take a look here. Next meeting, it looks like it's December 7th, 2023. So hopefully by that meeting, we'll have information on the milfoil. And then finally coming down here, public input.
A day that will live in infamy.
No, maybe the.
We got, the last item on the agenda is public input. Seeing that there's nobody here, we'll open it and we'll close it at 7:38 PM. Anything else from anybody here on the commission for this evening? We have one brief item, Harry, in non-public to talk about. So I'm gonna entertain a motion to enter into non-public per RSA 91A:3 subsection D, consideration of the acquisition, sale, or lease of real or personal property. I entertain that motion.
I'll second it.
No, you gotta make it. You guys,
Oh,
So moved.
so moved. So Harry made the motion, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Croto. Roll call vote, Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Menzikian,
yes.
Mr. Lavash.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. McGibbon?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Mr. Croto, Mr. Lynch?
Yeah.
Motion passes 700. We are now entering into non-public. We will only adjourn non-public to adjourn the meeting. So with that, have a good evening, Litchfield. We'll see you on December 7th at
You get to go home
6:30
now,
PM.
man. Enjoy life.